What's going on, everybody? Mr. Octagonal here, and we are back with the Madden 20 Detroit Lions franchise, and we have a lot to cover in today's episode, starting with Shaquem Griffin's breakout challenge from last episode, and it's acting like he didn't complete it, but I was implied that we had to get one interception, fumble force, tackle for loss, or sack, and he got a tackle for loss. So I don't know if it's implying that we needed to get one of each of those things, or just one of those things. And if we had to get one of each, I figured that'd be pretty hard. So I'm giving him star development for now, but if you guys don't think that he is warranting a star dev, I have a card at the top right corner. You guys can vote if you think he actually does deserve star dev. And I'm actually hearing from my producer that we have breaking news, so I will get right back in just a second.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
We have breaking news. The Lions have just announced their Week 3 starting quarterback, and it's going to be Matthew Stafford. No, I'm just kidding. It's TEZ Lawson, and there's not much suspense with this one for obvious reasons. Stafford got benched after the first half in Detroit's Week 2 loss to the Vikings. Stafford really struggled in that game. TEZ Lawson played the second half and dominated. 16 for 20, 245 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he did that with no time to throw it, getting sacked 7 times in that one half alone. Everson Griffin and Danielle Hunter went after his throat. So TEZ Lawson will be the starter for Week 3's game against the Bengals, who, by the way, still suck. The best player they've added since this series started is Nevin Lawson. Lions fans, please let that sink in. If you're not too familiar with Lions football, Nevin Lawson used to be a cornerback for Detroit, and he was awful. Anyway, speaking of former Cincinnati Bengals, we have breaking news. John Ross has been suspended 4 games for use of PEDs, so the Lions will be without their speedy slot receiver for these next 4 weeks. John Ross, so far this season through 2 games, has 7 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. This is pretty big news. The Lions are going to be without one of their better pass catchers. Ross was signed to be the number 3 receiver until Juju Smith-Schuster came back from his Achilles injury. Ross just released a statement recently saying, "I'd like to apologize for my actions. I had no intent on taking any illegal substances into my system, and I was and still am pretty confused about the situation. Nonetheless, I'd like to apologize for accidentally letting the substances enter my body. And I'd like to apologize to my family, my friends, my fans, my teammates, and the organization. I will grow as a football player and as a person during this suspension, and I plan on being better than ever when I return. Go Lions, one pride." So that's John Ross's statement about the suspension, and I feel like that's kind of a BS apology. And who will replace him in the slot? Obviously, Galladay and Bonner Sanders are the outside receivers, and there are only 2 other pass catchers who are healthy on the roster at wide receiver. You got Travis Fulgham and Dwayne Stuber. Fulgham played pretty well against the Vikings last week. He got a few snaps and played well, but the slot role will go to Dwayne Stuber. He's a better fit for the position. Fulgham is more of an outside guy, whereas Stuber, smaller, better route runner, and he's more fit for the slot position. So Dwayne Stuber will be the slot receiver until John Ross comes back, and he was an undrafted free agent from Iowa, and I feel like he has a ton of upside. Only 21 years old, and he showed some flashes in the preseason, looked really good during training camp, and the Lions do need some receiver depth since they only have 4 on the roster technically. So Jose St. Louis is being signed from the practice squad, and Emmanuel Sanchez Jr. will be joining the practice squad. So that means TEZ Lawson and Matthew Stafford are the only 2 quarterbacks on the roster at the moment. And this Bengals team obviously isn't very good, especially on defense, but they got one key cog in the middle, Geno Atkins, phenomenal defensive tackle, and the Lions have struggled running the ball this season, and having Geno Atkins, one of the most disruptive interior defensive linemen in football, and obviously Geno Atkins won't make things easier running the ball, so the game day goal is to beat his Bengals, which is very possible, and then run for only 1 touchdown, which isn't too hard, so that's not going to be too hard of a goal for the Lions to accomplish, as we've got some Week 3 NFC versus AFC football. The 0-2 Detroit Lions, coming off a tough loss last week against their divisional rival Vikings, are headed to Cincinnati to take on the also 0-2 Cincinnati Bengals. This is a must-win for both teams. TEZ Lawson's first start at quarterback for Detroit against not one of the better defenses in football. So here's the Bengals. They still got the red rifle at quarterback. Andy Dalton sacked on first down by Shaquem Griffin. Pretty quiet last week. He did win the breakout challenge after having 3 sacks in week 1 versus the Saints. That would lead to a 2nd and 14. Dalton gets it to Tyler Boyd, the former Pitt Panther, I believe, who gains 23. And then the very following play, the red rifle over to Joe Mixon. He loses about 5, fumbles the football. The big fella, A'Shawn Robinson, will take it the distance. And you want to guess who forced that ball out? Shaquem Griffin. That man is an animal, but however, the refs would review this play. And first of all, I don't know how A'Shawn got to the end zone, considering he's not the fastest gentleman there. But if you look at it, Joe Mixon was down before the ball came out, so this play will be reversed. Still a really good play from Shaquem Griffin, but it won't result in 7 points. 2nd and 14, back to Mixon. He loses 3 more. Jared Davis this time with the tackle for loss. And here is the Lions. TEZ Lawson coming off a dominant Week 1 performance. And he gets sacked again here on first down, this time by Monte Nicholson. So maybe it's not all the offensive line's fault. Maybe he's just taking too much time to throw it. I don't really know. So Bengals have it back. Andy Dalton sacked on 2nd down. That's Deshaun. Can you feel the hand? Deshaun Hand with the sack. Lions get the ball back. No one has really done anything on offense quite yet as Lawson has time, gets it to his open receiver, Kenny Golladay. 4 catches for a little bit over 70 yards in this game for Golladay. Nothing too crazy, but he did do his job. And then 2nd down, Lawson up the middle just a little. That's Nick Bawden, the fullback, who brings it to the 4-yard line. And then to finish off the first quarter, Lions trying to take the lead, and they would do just that, as that's Lawson getting it to the fellow rookie, Dwayne Stuber. His first career reception will go for a touchdown, and the Lions will take a 7-0 lead. You obviously need to pick up Lawson to your fantasy team, but a big sleeper on waiver wires these next few weeks is going to be Dwayne Stuber. So the Lions have it back here at the 10-yard line. When in doubt, as the great RMP once said, keep calm and carry on. 90 yards down to the end zone, the longest run of Kerryon Johnson's career. Detroit will extend their lead. Excellent blocking from the offensive line there, and then obviously Kerryon was able to finish it out. 2nd and 7. There's Trey. You better get some flowers for that date, young man. Trey Flowers sacking Andy Dalton. And here's the field goal unit. Will Lutz, now the kicker for the Bengals, one of the best kickers in all of football. He would make the field goal. Bengals cut the lead down. Lions only up 14-3. But can they extend that lead to end the first half? TEZ Lawson scrambling like he's late on a date. He would be sacked again. That's Robert Kimdichie. And maybe it is TEZ just taking too much time to throw it. He's used to having a really good O-line at Florida State, so it'll take some time for him to get adjusted. And then on 3rd and 20, Kerryon Johnson, more wide open than a McDonald's drive-thru at 5 o'clock in the morning. Lions get the first down, and then from the 35, here's Lawson scrambling again, and he gets it to Kenny Golladay, who's wide open. Golladay brings it down to the 9, and then some shaky clock management after that from Detroit. They would have enough time to kick the field goal, thank goodness, and the Lions will take a 17-3 lead heading into halftime. First play from scrimmage of the second half, Detroit has the ball back. Kerryon Johnson going backwards there, and he'd get hurt. He would return to the game, but he wouldn't really be his same self. Quiet second half for Kerryon. So that means we're probably going to see more of TEZ Lawson from here on out. And look at this. Lawson on first down, scrambling, taking a shot for Fulgham in the end zone. What a catch by Travis Fulgham. One-handed. And that is the play of this season so far. Fulgham made a few big catches last week against the Vikings. And that one in the end zone, phenomenal coverage from Cincinnati. But Fulgham pulls out his left hand and snags it. Lions all of a sudden are up 24-3, destroying Cincinnati. Joe Mixon losing more yardage. That tackle for loss is by Shaquem Griffin. One hand, don't care. Lions have the ball back. They are absolutely firing on all cylinders right now. As Lawson gets it to Golladay, it looked like he was trying to get it to Freddie Bonner-Sanders on the slant, but it would be caught by a Lion receiver, so it doesn't really matter. And then here's the field goal unit. Matt Prater's kick is good. Lions are now up 27-3. They've been dominating this game. Bengals starting the fourth quarter off going for it, and you can't really blame them. They don't have much of a choice as Dalton gets it to his superstar receiver, A.J. Green. Green's getting a little bit up there in age, but the old man still has it. And then the Bengals, the following play. Here's the red rifle, picked off by Quandre Diggs. The first turnover this season for the Lions defense, and Diggs is off to the races, getting by a few Bengals offensive players. Dalton can't catch him. Lions are now up 34-3, right? Well, that's what we expected, but the Lions are going to fake the extra point. They want to make it 35-3. Stafford with the throw. He gets it to his left tackle, Taylor Decker, and Detroit now has an even bigger lead. That's the only throw we saw Stafford make today, and it went in the end zone for some points. So Cincinnati has it back. They're down by 32. There's A.J. Green who gets hurt. That could be serious. Tracy Walker and company with the tackle. And then second down from the 44. Here's Dalton scrambling like eggs on a frying pan, and he's sacked by Shaquem Griffin. Have yourself a day, kiddo. Griffin's 5th sack of the season. I'd have to assume that leads the NFL or is awfully close to leading it. So Detroit has it back. Why not extend their lead even more? As Lawson gets it to his tight end, T.J. Hawkinson, who brings it to the 20. Tez Lawson having himself another good game in this one. And then from the 20, very next play, Lawson would fake the handoff, and he just runs into Robert Kimdichie, his second sack of the game. Can't really blame Tez on that play. And then second down and 16 after the sack, Lawson gonna throw him a run, and he would be intercepted. As that's Monte Nicholson with the play. Nicholson got a sack and a pick, and that helped him win Defensive Player of the Week somehow. Lawson's first career pick, and I think it's good that it happened now. Just get it out of your system. And speaking of INTs, you can't spell intercepted without the D. Jarrett Davis reads the screenplay like a book, gets the pick six, and the Bengals down 42-3. They want to make this game a little bit closer as Auden Tate gets the touchdown, but it doesn't really matter. Lions dominate in this game 42-10. I don't know if they won because they were playing a far inferior team or if Tez Lawson's energy will really change this football team.